So John, Jody, John.
Hi, John.
Hi, how are you?
Very well. How about yourself?
Doing great.
All right. So are you both excited about this?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's bring some great vibes, some great energy, some great information to people. So we only have the two of you today. So we had a cancellation. Somebody had a sickness in the family. So I'll use some time to, I'll do something at the end and talk about, the website or something. I don't know. But so here's the way it's going to work. So first I've got Jody up, and your topic is, can we deliberately turn a crisis into a catalyst?
That's right.
I'll be introducing you that way. And then John Muse, growing younger. You're going to talk about growing younger, and I can't wait to hear more about that.
Yes.
So I'll introduce the two of you at the top. We'll go live like 5 seconds after it hits 10 o'clock. And I'll give you, if you open the chat, when you get 3 minutes from 18 minutes, although, if you went a minute over today, it's probably okay since we only have the two of us, two speakers. But I'll give you a 3-minute countdown. So when you're at 15 minutes, and you don't have to go 18 minutes, like do whatever the talk requires, as long as it doesn't go more than 18. Okay, does that make sense? I'll give you in the chat, I'll give you a 3-minute, 2-minute, 1 minute. If you start going really long, you're going to see my picture pop up. But
Okay.
I know that.
Or you just mute us and delete the video.
Yes. So that's
Sorry, technical problem.
We only had to do that once, as Jim kind of popped up and like, okay, hey, thank you very much, because we want to make sure everybody has time. That's the only thing.
Right.
So the way it's going to work is, just before we get to the top of the hour, I'm going to turn both of your videos off. I'm going to mute you. I'll do a little introduction, speakers, by the way, blah, 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 whatever. And then I'll give an overview of who people should expect to hear from today. So I'll introduce you, and then I'll start with you, Jody. I'll say, and our first speaker is, and I'll repeat your topic. I'll turn your video on. I'll turn your audio on. We'll banter a little bit, and then I'll say, the stage is yours. And I'll turn off my camera and my mic. And I think when I enable your video, it's going to come up and ask you, like, I don't think I can turn your video on.
Okay.
I can request you turn your video on. So you'll see something come up, click it, you'll come on, and just pause for like a second or two.
Okay.
Because we want to be able to edit your talk as a standalone piece of video.
Got it.
And at the end, you say, thank you very much. The key thing I'll be listening for is thank you. And then when you're done, just stop, pause. Don't feel the need to fill the space with talk. I'll come on, we'll banter about a little bit, and then I'll introduce John, and we'll go through the same thing. So it's pretty straightforward. And
then am I signing off at that point?
You can, or you can hang out, whatever you like.
Okay.
It's only going to be once, when you're speaking, it's only going to be your video and your audio, and John and I will be lurking. And then when John's speaking, it's only be his video and his audio. So really, if you want, the best thing you could do is go on to Facebook and watch the live stream, and chime in with a couple of comments.
Okay.
That would probably be more helpful.
All right. I'm feeling like I'm a little echoey. How is my sound?
It's good.
Okay.
And you say something, John, just sound check.
Okay, sound check. And Jody, you were a little echoey.
Yeah.
A little bit. Can you move your
maybe
mic
move
closer?
back? Just I would say move back. Move the mic further away. Or are you back?
I don't really have the option to move me. How is that better?
That's better.
Should I move it back even further?
That's fine now.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to get ready. I'm going to, what's going to seem like an eternity between now and the top of the hour, but just hang tight. And I'm going to turn off your videos and turn off your audios, and that's what we'll do.
How many people have you been having on?
Usually there's 3 speakers.
No, I'm talking about for audience.
Oh, it's on. We usually don't get attendees on the webinar. We get a lot of people watching live stream.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to say. I'm going to stop your video, and you too. Hi, this is Don McGrath, co-founder of Speakers Pathway Coalition, and welcome to episode number 8 of our daily messages of inspiration, hope, and support. Speakers Pathway is sponsoring this virtual stage because we understand a lot of us are shut in and a lot of us need a little daily dose of information, inspiration, levity. And so we've asked speakers to come and share their messages of inspiration, hope, and support. And we're just so happy to be able to do this. And goodness gracious, the speakers we've had show up and offer to share their message have been unbelievable. So if you want to see the talks, you can actually go. We actually have them up. The ones that we've done so far are up on speakerspathway.com. You'll see a banner about halfway down the page, messages of inspiration, hope, and support. Click on that and you can see the individual videos of all the speakers. We're so excited to be bringing this to you. And I'm so excited today to introduce to you our speakers. So we got 2 speakers today. First up is going to be Jody Hinkle, and she's going to be talking about, can we deliberately turn a crisis into a catalyst? I just can't wait to hear some of the tips and techniques around that. And second, we're going to have John Muse, who's going to be talking about growing younger. And I love that. I'm coming up on the big 6-0 myself. Looking forward to seeing much beyond that. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm going to get Jody to join us as our first speaker. Click some buttons so we can make that happen. Welcome, Jody.
Hi, how you
Hi.
doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Appreciate being invited to participate in this pretty inspiring gathering of leaders.
Thank you so much. We've had great feedback from people there. You know, the speakers themselves are like, wow, I've been tuning into these things every single day and really loving it and sharing. You know, we're reaching a lot of people. I think we're getting reaches in the 1,500 to a couple thousand on each one of these episodes. So we couldn't be happier with the response. And so, Jody, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much. Well, hi, everybody. I am eager to be here, delighted to be here. And I am planning to share with you some thoughts around crisis. All of us have likely faced some personal crisis in the past, and we have found our way through that and gotten to the other side. And there are 2 things that happen within a crisis that I believe gives us the ability to turn the unexpected circumstances that are going on around us into a personal catalyst. And so we'll be talking a little bit through that. We'll be talking through a personal story that I feel helped me find my way. And we'll be giving you some very concrete suggestions that you can take to feel more in control of personal experience and what's going on right now. And so the 2 things that make a crisis a catalyst are, we have emotions that are triggered in reaction to what's going on to the outside circumstances, things that we can't control. And those emotions peak and then they settle. And then they surge, and then they settle. And as they do that, we are personally adjusting to a new norm. The second thing that happens is that there's periods of contemplation, quiet contemplation, where that adjustment brings us to a different place. We're standing in a new place. Different circumstances going around that give us a new view or a perspective. And in that quiet contemplation, we have a chance with the new eyes, the new view, to update beliefs that no longer serve us, to update the priorities that are most important to us, to update the desires that have maybe been put on a back burner as we're tending to what was maybe the most dominant need in the room. And ultimately, we may just find ourselves updating our whole entire approach to life. I know that I see all kinds of evidence around that around me on a daily basis. And so historically, we have faced personal crises one at a time. I'm in crisis. My world around me stays safe, stable. And I think the key difference that's going on right now is we're all really facing this crisis together. And so as it hits all of us at once, we all already face decisions that we didn't have to make a couple of weeks ago. We can easily fast forward our minds a few months in advance and understand that we're going to be standing in a new norm, a new life experience. And each of us are going to get there differently, and you've probably already seen some of these examples. Some will stand boldly in their opinions and shout them out very loudly, and some will share them quietly. Others will strive to continuously help, to ease the way for other people, and mostly that's done through kindness and compassion and cooperation. Others will focus on their time with their children, unexpected time that they have now that they wouldn't have had before. Some will be ruled by the fear that lives in their mind. And we're hoping that Dawn's series is going to help those people shift out of that mindset. And most of us will get to a place where we'll start to choose decisions deliberately by setting intention, measuring our progress, and adjusting as we need to. That's the makings of a strategic plan. Setting an intention, gauging our progress, and adjusting as we go. The concern in a crisis is the fear. And most fear comes down to, at the very, very core, financial insecurity or concern about personal safety. And so what we're hoping to address today is how can you navigate what's ahead of us without getting caught up in fear? The question itself might even feel a little bit daunting. And so I'd like to share a bit of a personal story to demonstrate the importance of our perspective, our vantage point. You know, up until now, we've all had our own lifetime of experiences that have culminated into who. And I was a woman back a few years ago that really lost track of myself. I was caught up in the belief that my happy was tied to controlling outside circumstances. Outside circumstances, external from me. And in that belief, I found myself completely preoccupied with what was going on around me instead of what was going on within me. And that left me in a constant query of what do I have to do? What do I have to do? How can I adjust? What do I have to do different to get the life experience I want? And in doing so, I was constantly standing in a problem that I was trying to fix. And fast forward a few years later, 20 to be exact, 20 years in an industry in healthcare that I loved my job and felt great success and really had put most of my identity into that executive level position inside healthcare, where I was moving and shaking and really addressing healthcare reform nationwide in a big way. And I got fired unexpectedly. And my life sort of crumbled around me. My confidence was shook up. I felt like my knees had kind of gotten kicked out from behind me. And I was sitting in the middle of crisis. And I sat there for a little while until I could finally get the courage to begin to look ahead and see. I'm sorry, I hit my mute button by mistake. I was invited to speak at a Women's Prosperity Network event, and it caused me to really take a deep look at what had been the influences that have the outside influences that really had brought me to where I was standing at that present moment in time. And for all of us, we have influences that come from our families. You know, my mom, she has a great imagination, and she made the best birthday parties. We had fairy wands, and oh, we felt like princesses every time. She's an amazing creative person, and she made our life fun. And then I fast forwarded into school, and I left the safety net of my family and stepped into kindergarten with Mrs. Foote. And I was terrified. It was all kinds of things that I had never experienced before. And I spent most of every day in kindergarten crying on her lap, where she taught the class with me on her lap. And I realized through going through that scary experience that I really was going to be okay outside the bounds of my family. 5th grade was Mrs. Smith, favorite teacher in the whole entire world. And she made me realize I was smart and I could learn. And she helped me to believe in myself. 7th grade was Miss Hughes in the Girls Club, and she brought us on adventures. She helped me to see outside the small world that I had been limited to in my life experience in the southeast corner of Massachusetts. She brought us on adventures, a group of girls who had great fun together. We really had a good time. Team sports in high school became very important to me, and Miss Costa was the field hockey coach. And man, she taught me grit, and she taught me the importance of being a member of a team and showing up to do my job in a way that would impact everybody else that was on my team. And those women leaders in my high school years were very, very important to me. I like to think about the media of the time. I graduated in 1981. And I like to think of the media at the time and the influence that also led to me. And as a young teenager, Cher was a big part of my life. I thought she was brilliant in her boldness. She was so bold about who she was. She didn't care what anybody thought. And that was a great example to me to step into who you are, even when it's different from the others around you. Meg Ryan in that movie where she faked the orgasm scene in the coffee shop, that was hysterical to me. And it really showed me that she too was going to embrace the joy that she felt was fun and light after, and not really be concerned with what others were thinking about her. And last was Julia Roberts in that movie, Pretty Woman. That was a movie that influenced me greatly. I saw the acts of kindness lead to the character in the movie, Julia Roberts' character, stepping outside of what had trapped her, which was her own limited thinking. And so then I took it a step further. And I started to think about the women who have come before me, the brilliant minds who are no longer here in the physical plane, but who influenced the world in big ways. And they too were bold people. I was asked to speak at this WPN Women's Prosperity Network event, and it was tied to Women's History Month. And so I started thinking about the women who had influenced me in a bigger way. And I love the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill's book Think and Grow Rich, and I appreciate the teaching that he has around that most people who are successful have a loving environment around them, a nurturing, loving environment that sort of fosters an atmosphere in their home and in their personal relationships. And so I got curious about Napoleon Hill's wife. Her name is Rosalie Beeland Hill, and she was his second wife, and she was actually brilliant enough, even though he was a penniless author when they met. She was brilliant enough to ask for a prenuptial way back before it was sort of the norm. And they pulled that book together. They pulled it together. They pulled the completion of that book, Think and Grow Rich, together with her as the editor. And she provided that for him through that role as the editor, through the role of wife, but mostly in that creating the loving environment, the atmosphere around them that allowed them both to succeed. And that book is still the #1 bestseller in the self-help world. The next woman I thought of honoring today was Amelia Earhart, a woman before her time. She lived where her dreams were, flying around the world. I honor that. I appreciate that, the power of our dreams. And it is a wonderful time for us to be thinking about where our dreams live and not lose sight of where we're headed. This work allowed me to realize I had made 3 promises to myself. And they weren't really out loud on a list, 1, 2, 3, prior to doing this preparation for this event back in January of 2019. But I realized they were there all the time. These promises, I'm going to share them with you right now. The first one is to reach beyond what I already know. What I already know is the place of familiar. Reach beyond what is familiar. Reach beyond what I already know. The second one is realize the joy along the way. If I wait for my joy to be at the end where my destination is, could be a pretty lonely, boring journey. But by looking for the joy along the way, the entire path to my destination is one that I can cherish. And third is to revel in the joy of life with other people who also are in love with life. And so I am quite intentional about who it is I surround myself with, who it is I share my time with, in an effort to revel in the joy of life together. And so I'm going to ask you a few questions to help you to think about what your bold promises are to yourself, and maybe even tie them to a catalyst that could take place in your life right now. And so the first one is, who is showing you how to reach beyond your comfort zone? We're all out of our comfort zone right now. And so who's showing you the way? Second, how do you invite diversity into your view? Diversity, different opinions, different perspectives, most importantly, in my opinion. Different perspectives look at the same situation and they see different ingredients. They see different components and they see different opportunities. So who's helping you shift your view or your perspective? Third, what seeds were planted long ago that have helped you move through transitions in the past? Those seeds, those influences of those people in our lives in our own personal lives or those people who came before us. Those seeds are growing and being nurtured deliberately, they will flourish and help you through this time. And last, how can you deliberately shift your perspective so that you have a different view, a different vantage point? And so let's circle back to that original question. How can you navigate your way through the maze ahead of us so that you don't get caught up in fear? One of the ways is to grab hold of a broader perspective that we can't see with our physical eyes, that are part of a broader perspective. When we think of security as things that are reliable and consistent, my mind goes to nature. I'm lucky enough to live at the beach. And so the ocean comes and goes with each tide every day, and I don't have to do anything. That's my definition of reliable. My body is reliable. My heart beats, my blood pumps, my lungs breathe. Reliable, consistent, security. Fostering thoughts of those reliable things that I don't have to do anything, to trust that they're going to be there. They're going to do their job. They're going to do their part. That's where a sense of security can come from in a bigger, broader perspective. Secondly is that word abundance. We're hearing all about abundance in many, many different arenas these days. And I think most time goes to, oh my goodness, my time is up. I just got a chat note. Sorry, John. Sorry, Don. 1 second, I'll finish up. Abundance, joy, ideas, music, dancing, learning, right? That's all kinds of abundance. Third is prosperity. When we tie prosperity to freedom, freedom of choice, freedom of thought, freedom of focus, freedom of clarity, freedom of strategy. And last, well-being. A general perspective that even though things are so weird, different right now, things are going to work out. There'll be a new norm. We're all adjusting, and it's going to be okay. This is an opportunity for you to refine your approach to life. And so 6 quick suggestions. I want to be sure I'm following with what I promised. 1, find a neutral advisor. Get their help to address your concerns about money. I am lucky enough to have Echo Karas be a part of my life, and she is managing my economic relief applications for me so that I don't have to get caught up in the fears and the constant thinking about money. Find a neutral advisor. 2, change your abundance metrics to one of the things that I just identified. 3, sit in quiet contemplation with those who came before us, those wise souls who've already been here and have a broader view. 4, create a spiritual mastermind. We all love masterminds. Create a spiritual one with the Amelia Earharts and the Rosalie Beelan Hills of the world that speak to you personally. It'll help you regain trust of yourself, and then watch for the unexpected that you can embrace, that will help you to find your way in this time. I thank you very much, and I apologize for going over. Sending you much love.
Wow. Thank you so very much, Jody. That was absolutely fantastic. It was worth going a bit over the time, and we only have the 2 speakers today, so everything's cool.
Right.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And as you were sharing with us, a few things hit me. One, you made me remember some of those influential people in my life,
Yes.
those teachers, those coaches, those mentors. And you know, that's something I often think, who am I going to be that person to?
Mm.
So that would be my challenge to everyone who's listening to this, is stepping into that role for someone else, at least one other person. So thank you for that. I love reaching beyond. Sometimes we feel like right now we're reaching into the darkness, but reaching beyond what you know, and then joy along the way. You know, we're looking forward to the end of this April when, you know, the new checkpoint's going to be.
Right.
But, you know, spending the time with the dog, going for the walks, you know, doing things that you ordinarily wouldn't do. I think that's a great message. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
You're very welcome.
All right. Thank you again. And I'm taking over for Jim today. Jim he had to go take care of his dog who's been ill. And so you're not getting Jim today, and Jim is the master. I'm the apprentice. So I hope I can do him justice. So absolutely fantastic. So our next speaker is John Muse, and John Muse is going to talk about a topic that I love. You know, the first book I ever wrote was titled 50 Athletes Over 50. So I love the thought about growing younger. So let me turn your video on, John. Hey, John, welcome.
Thank you. Great day to be here.
All right. And again, I want to thank you and all the speakers who have raised their hand and stepped forward to share these incredible message. And John, it's your stage.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. Imagine yourself growing biologically younger. Now I can hear you thinking, that's impossible. And what the heck does that have to do with the current situation with the coronavirus and health and all that kind of stuff? Well, it has a lot to do with it. If you look at the coronavirus, they say the people that are most likely to be impacted are the elderly, and unfortunately I fall in their category, and those with pre-existing conditions like diabetes, etc. So if you can grow younger and deal with diabetes and other situations like that, then you will be healthier, you will be less likely to get the coronavirus issues, and your life will be better. And I'm living proof that it can be done by accessing the healing power of your body and your mind. Now we know the opposite is true. Heavy smokers and/or drinkers age faster biologically. Look how stress ages the US president. It's really hard for me to see how the president comes in at a certain level and 4 or 8 years later, he has aged, 10 to 20 years. So we know the opposite is true. In mid-December of 2008, I was diagnosed with diabetes with very high blood sugar, and measure A1C of 7.9 and high blood pressure. So I went to the doctor and they wanted to give me, diabetes medication and blood pressure medications. And if you can avoid those because there's a lot of dangerous side effects. But fortunately, I had a good doctor and I told him, look, let me try the diet and exercise route first. And if that doesn't work and I have to go on the medications, I'll go on the medications. But let me try that first. And he was agreeable to that. And fortunately, I have been able to make that work for me. And I used 100% natural nutrition and exercise components, and showing that I could improve my body without using the toxic medications. So in the last 15 months, I'm no longer diabetic. My A1C is down to 6. I no longer have high blood pressure. And I have reduced my biological age by 7 years, which means I am 7 years younger biologically than I was a year and a half ago. And that's pretty amazing because that means my health is better. That means my outlook on life is better. That means I will live longer. And I am on a path towards that in 100% natural ways without any adverse side effects. And you can do it too. Biological age is measurable. And if you go online, there's lots of different ways to do it. I even have an Omron scale that measures my biological age according to their factors every morning, so I can check it out. And again, if I can do it, so can you. Now, the best way to decrease your biological age is to increase the number and effectiveness of both mitochondria and stem cells. And again, I hear you saying, what the heck are those? Mitochondria is the portion of the cells that can convert fuel to energy. And if you're using the fuel or sugar in your body effectively, then your blood sugar will go down. And stem cells adapt to maintain and repair stem cell tissues on site. They're inside the cell. Now, unfortunately, both mitochondria and stem cell effectiveness normally decrease dramatically as the chronological age increases. And that's just a fact of living. But fortunately, there are actions that you can take to improve both of those. And the good news is these factors work to improve both, as well as a lot of other things that you can name. Number one, choose high quality, healthier, natural foods and drinks. 2, enjoy meaningful exercise. 3, sleep well. 4, gather a good support group. And 5, track your progress, because as you write down the measurements, you will see your progress. Every morning, I get up, I take my blood sugar, I use my Omron scale, I get my weight, I get my percent fat, I get my percent muscle, I get my biological age, and several other factors that are helpful for me to keep track of, and I write it down every morning so that I can keep track of it and I can see my progress. Well, what are the results over the past 15 months? My weight has dropped over 30 pounds. My body fat has decreased by over 10%. My mitochondria and stem cell efficiency has risen to 60% above normal. And I developed a way that I can measure, as far as I know, is the only thing on the planet now that can do that, the effectiveness of mitochondria and stem cells. And at 69, my personal best for one arm rows is now 95 pounds with each arm. And in the past 15 months, I have set over 200 personal all-time bests in terms of weightlifting, etc., either weights or the number of repetitions. So let's take those in order. High quality, healthier, natural foods. Number one, you want to eat anti-inflammatory foods. And I'm going to give you some examples. And if you want the complete list, you can email me at john_emuse@gmail.com, and I will be glad to send it to you. Okay, for protein, use salmon, but not any salmon. Salmon wild caught and fresh is better. Grass-fed beef, organic, is better. Free-range chicken, organic, is better. Free-range eggs, organic. Things like almonds, skinless, blanched. Lamb, organic. Bison, free-range. Black Forest ham. And coconut milk, again, native forest and organic. So that's how you can get protein that's much better for you than eating a bunch of Big Macs and things like that. Vegetables, organic asparagus, organic avocados, organic bean sprouts, organic green cabbage, organic cauliflower, organic celery, organic kale. There's a lot of different things that you can do that will make you healthier. And again, if you're eating healthier foods, you're cutting down on the junk food because you don't need them. In terms of fruit, organic apples, organic blackberries, organic blueberries, organic cherries, organic grapefruit, organic lemons, organic peaches, pears, plums, raspberries, lots of different choices so that you may have a variety and get all kinds of different things. If you look at grains, you want coconut flour, gluten-free, hazelnut flour, again, gluten-free, condiments, coconut cream, gluten-free, liquid smoke, gluten-free, brown mustard, without vinegar olives. Sweetener, you can use stevia, is the best way to go, and cut out the sugar. Beverages, beef bone broth, lemon juice, lime juice, green tea, coconut water, high quality water is probably the best thing that you can do in terms of hydrating. And you need to have 1/2 ounce of fluids for each pound of body weight that you currently have every day. And that will make a dramatic thing. Then we get into exercise. Okay, to start off, I would suggest doing body weight exercises that you can do at home. And you can do this fairly easily. And since they're body weight oriented, they're free. There's lots of places online that you can go to look at samples. If you need help, let me know. But walking is one of the best exercises you can do. Push-ups, again, you're using your own body weight to help things. Lunges, where you step forward or backwards and have your knee come to like 1 inch to the ground. You can do squats, which is bending down at the knees, and that is one of the best exercises that you can do. Again, there are lots of other things. Have a variety, exercise all the muscles and make things work for you. Now, getting into the coronavirus and the issues that are going on right now, there are advantages and disadvantages to everything. And you say, well, what the heck is the advantages to having a worldwide virus that can kill us? Well, I've had more time to spend with my wife since I worked at home anyway, but she has been furloughed, so we get the more time together. Concentrate on priorities, and Jody outlined those really well in terms of things that you can do to outline priorities and look at where you're going. Celebrate the small things in your life. My wife and I were cleaning out the condo, and we found a roll of 45 rolls of toilet paper that I didn't even remember we had. I felt like a king just because we found toilet paper. So you can do that. Learn new skills. I've learned video conferencing. I didn't know how to do that before, but I've done that. I've set it up for different groups, and our family has long-range video conferencing that puts us together with people we haven't seen in years. I happen to use Zoom. There's several other good ones out there, but there are ways of doing that. So look at learning new skills. So let's go through the summary again. High quality, healthier, natural foods and drinks. Think about what you're putting into your body, because the more healthier things you put into your body, the healthier you're going to be. Meaningful exercise. What does that mean for you? Can you do that with your significant other that lives with you? Can you do that following things online? What works for you? Sleep well. I normally suggest at least 7 to 8 hours. Don't overdo it, but that is one of the best things that you can do in terms of improving your health. Gather a good support group. You can now do that over online like this, and look at different ways that you can support each other and share your progress and track that progress. Keep track of how you're doing so that you can be helpful to others, and you have a record to give you more enthusiasm and more sense of how you're doing with all this. So I encourage all of you to access the healing power of your body and mind. Visualize and feel your body growing biologically younger. It can be done. And let's enjoy those life-changing benefits together. Back to you, Don.
Well, John, thank you so much for sharing that. I think, the progress that you've made in a very short period of time is truly inspiring. And I love the fact that you've set, how many records have you set over the past, how many months?
200 personal all-time records.
200. And that's, I mean, that's going against getting older, right? And so that's usually, you put those in your rearview mirror and you start looking for other things to do. So really congratulations on that. And one other thing I'd like to say, because I'm a pretty athletic guy and I'm weigh myself every day and work out every day, but I'll tell you, in these times when I know I'm housebound, I know I can't go climbing, I know I can't, it's challenging, I can get lazy and break those what ordinarily I wouldn't give a second thought to. And so I really like your words of encouragement to keep to that ritual, especially in these times. So thank you so much, John, for sharing your words of wisdom.
You're welcome. Just remember, you're going to get chronologically older, but biologically you can get younger.
Biologically, you can't stop the clock, right? But you can reverse the trends of biological aging. So thank you so very much, John.
You're welcome.
I want to thank our speakers today. I also wanted to show you what we're doing on our website with these videos. So our team is really, really excited about this. We've been working really, really hard at getting this together, and we just went live with it yesterday. So I'm going to share my screen and show you, oops, let's see, where are we? I want to show you what we're doing. So this is speakerspathway.com. This is our homepage, and there's all kinds of cool stuff. If you want to learn more about what we do, we help entrepreneurs to monetize their message through the power of public speaking. But if you scroll down a little bit here, you'll see messages of inspiration, hope, and support. And you'll see some of our speakers up there. If you click on see more, it'll take you to a page where you get to see all of the speakers so far. Well, we still are processing a few of them, and the intent here is for each one of our speakers. And if you click into this, you will see the individual talk. For example, Dr. Saida Desolé, who's a fantastic speaker. So I just wanted to show you this in case you want to share some of these talks, or you want to, maybe you missed some of the talks, or maybe you want to go shopping for some of the talks for that daily dose of inspiration, hope, and support. So you can do this. Go to speakerspathway.com. You can't miss it. So I really wanted to show you that. I also wanted to share a little bit of information. So a few years ago, I had one of my talks that I gave was about being in the top 3%. And depending on how you define it, how I defined it at the time was in terms of wealth. And if you look at what that means, the top 3% earn over $280,000 a year. They have over $2 million of net worth. So that's one definition. And let's just use that for example. I think if you're there, congratulations. If you're not there, would you like to get there? I'm sure you'd like to get there. So it turns out that there's primarily 3 ways that people get in the top 3%. There's lots of different ways, but primarily there's three ways. One is real estate. Building wealth through real estate is one of the ways to get into the top 3%. Another way is financial investing. And that's another way to get in the top 3%. And the third, and probably the most interesting to people watching this daily show, is to own your own business and have your own business and grow your own business. So those are the top three ways of getting into the top 3% in terms of wealth. So here's the thing. If you look historically, some of the greatest creation of wealth happens during times like this, when it's a down market. Right now the Dow went from 28,000 to below 20,000 for some time. And there's uncertainty, and this is where a lot of wealth is created. So here's a question. So do you think in real estate that those who are investing in real estate during this uncertain time, do you think there's wealth to be made? There certainly is. For people who have money to invest, do you think there's wealth to be made right now in this uncertain time by investing in various markets? Yes, there's a ton of money to be made for those people. And so finally, as an entrepreneur, a business owner, do you think there's also tremendous opportunity for building wealth in this uncertain time? There most certainly is. So real estate investors, they invest in real estate. Financial investors invest in various instruments, stocks, bonds, commodities. Business owners, what do? They invest in their business. They invest in themselves. They invest in becoming better. They invest in their processes. They invest in their products. They invest in their people. So now is the time. Now is the time to be investing in your business if you want to be in that 3%. So one of our executive training directors, Sony Jackson, was saying, hey, I'd like to hear some more funny stories on some of these talks. So Sony, this is for you. I want to tell you the story of two entrepreneurs. And the two entrepreneurs are my dog Goose's, we call them babies. They're Bully Baby and there's Ducky Baby. Okay, so they're both business owners. And Bully Baby, well, and Bully's losing some of his stuffing here. Well, Bully Baby, though, he's a personal trainer. So he works at a gym and does personal training for people. And Ducky Baby is a yoga teacher and works at a yoga studio. So they're both kind of doing their thing, right? And then coronavirus happened. Oh, goodness, what are we going to do? I don't know. I was told I can't do my classes at the yoga studio anymore. Yeah, they sent me home too. So what are we to do? So you could respond different ways, right? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Bully Baby? Well, they told me to go home. I think I'll go home and play Spider Solitaire and spend time, wait for this to get over. I think it'll get over pretty soon. So you could be like Bully Baby and just kind of try to wait it out. Or you'd be like Ducky Baby. So Ducky, what are you going to do? Well, people still need yoga. They still need exercise. They still need to get rid of stress, maybe more now than ever. They need me. So maybe I need to figure out how to help them, even though they can't come to my studio. And that is called a pivot. Bully Baby is sitting at home, eating, probably not getting in better shape and not serving people who need what he has and playing Spider Solitaire and binge watching TV on Netflix. Where Ducky Baby is pivoting, trying to figure out how does Ducky Baby make this work? So who are you going to be? Are you going to be Bully Baby or are you going to be Ducky Baby? Who do you think is going to be in the 3% a year or two from now? Is it going to be Bully Baby or Ducky Baby? I think we know the answer to that question. I think it's going to be Ducky Baby. And it's going to be Ducky Baby because Ducky Baby is able to pivot. And that's to take a look at what's going on and say, hey, maybe I need to change what I'm doing a bit. So one of our members, Sophia Olivas, she has been helping some of our other members with some of their pivoting. And she came to me and she said, Don, maybe I'm spending a lot of time with our members on helping them to pivot, knowing that with her expertise. And so she said, do you think it would be good for us to do a course? And I said, of course it would be good to do a course. So we're doing it. So we were launching our first lesson today. It's called What is Your Pivot? And we sent it out to a bunch of people. We got about 30 people who registered. The first lesson's today. It's going to run over about 2 weeks. And we're going to help you to figure out what your pivot is and actually implement it. So you'll have an action plan and actually make progress on your pivot. So if you want more about this, if you haven't heard about this, but you want to be like Ducky Baby and not like Bully Baby, if you want to pivot and you want to take this course, well, just message me or put something in the comments here on this Facebook Live and I'll get you the information because and it's totally free. It's free. We were going to do it just for our members, but then we decided to open it up for the world. It's our calling to give as much as we possibly can with what we can do during this time. So I hope you'll join us. And I hope you enjoyed my little ducky baby, bully baby story. So now to wrap up, I want to really thank Jody and John for their talks today. Really inspiring, great information. And tomorrow, that's Friday, I'll be back as the guest. Jim is going to be doing our radio show, Your Future Is Now, on TogiNet. But we'll have Joshua Zeppes. We'll talk about restarting your life. Rhonda Renee will be talking about overcoming challenge and change. And Justin Kier will be talking about why it's important to not do this alone and who you should surround yourself with. All right. Thank you so much, everyone who's tuned in to these messages of inspiration, hope, and support. And we'll see you tomorrow. Please share this with people that you think would benefit from it. You can just share it on the Facebook Live. You can go to speakerspathway.com and share it. Thank you very much.